you shoot almost every weekend as a sponsored shooter. Is that how that works? They send you out and.
Well, it's kind of up to the sponsored shooter to be like, trying to find the matches is up to me. So actually this weekend I was juggling, being on the road for a month, coming back in for a week, and having, that busy schedule. 30 minutes down the road from where I live was a Glock match over here at 17 South. So I thought, well, I'll take this week off the road. This weekend I'll just do a local match. So that was it.
And it worked out perfect that we could get together. So I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Tell me, we've had so many discussions off air. I want to make sure they make it on air here. We had a discussion. You said, well, let me give the scenario, and you tell me what it's like. You go to a range where people don't know you or have never met you, and you're walking to the gun range. Kind of paint me a picture of how that looks.
Okay, so usually when I walk through the door of any gun range, I'm shaking, both hands, head to toe, just shaking like, just vigorously. And everybody looks like, oh, what's he gonna do?
Yeah, why is he here?
Why is he here? But I just kind of tell them, here to shoot, no reason to be alarmed, and kind of tell them the story. But they really, they sit me down, question me a minute, maybe make me watch a couple of safety videos or, their whatever, go through the orientation of safety before I go out on their range, make sure I know the rules. But it's just...
Well, that's everybody, more or less, but you think you get a little extra attention?
Oh, yeah, and they tell me afterwards, they said, we just didn't really, we didn't really know what was going to happen.
Yeah, well,
so,
I guess that's human nature. I mean, it sucks,
yeah.
For lack of a better term. And then what about other shooters on the range? Do you notice some glancing going on, or?
Oh yeah. It's it's the part of the gun family aspect of this. We've got this stigma of being hardcore, whatever,
sure,
stigma that everybody puts on us. But if you ever come to a match around a gun range or around people that do this on a weekly basis, they're amazing. It's my gun family. The gun family is a tighter knit community than some families.
Okay.
And the friendliness. I was. I've been at matches. I could not tie my shoe for nothing. Trying for like 5 minutes to tie my shoe because I just couldn't. I hadn't started shooting yet.
Right.
And another competitor comes over and helps me tie my shoe. I don't know him. We're in the parking lot, getting ready for a match. He's parked beside me, and that's the way the gun community works. So they're very welcoming, friendly. We all are bonded before we even meet each other. So.
Nice. Well, I've been to I'm not a big shooter. I can shoot. I didn't grow up shooting. My brother did. I grew up with video games, so I'm an okay shot. Which I went skeet shooting with some friends one time, and they were surprised that I could actually shoot. And since all those years of duck hunter and everything else that I played. But again, there's such discipline that comes along with working with firearms or handling firearms that I think that lends itself to people in a common cause to making that ship correct. Right. And you always see someone new on the range the few times I've been that everybody's keeping an eye on, and that make sure that gun muzzle doesn't turn around on us. And
that's right.
What you had mentioned, and we won't get into specifics of what those items were, but you said everything you do in your life, you had a previous business, but everything you do now is kind of around therapy. So you don't, if it's not your gun therapy, you had another thing, a business you were doing that
Well,
made you physically work
well,
and do things.
yeah. So everything now is revolving around the gun therapy. So now, instead of getting an automatic to drive, I get a stick shift, to drive.
Okay.
I don't get the easiest, thing to drive,
Right.
and I get the hardest thing to drive. So I'm always challenging myself. I've got this, monster truck. It's like a semi with a pickup truck bed on it. It's basically it.
Okay.
Barely fits in the lane, and it's just trying to be laser focused on that part and every part of my day to make that therapy work. And those different aspects is that's the real therapy. There's gun therapy and everything else,
Right.
But all of it contributes to the same thing. I just wish I could bridge the gap, to where I could, hold a fork enough steady or a knife steady, or even my razor steady enough to do, So,
Right. Well, maybe
but,
we need to start shaping razors and forks like guns.
yeah, exactly. Right.
Well, maybe I don't know.
Hey, yeah.
I'm sure you've thought of
Yeah.
making everything look like a gun, but
Yeah.
there's only so much you can do.
That's right.
Where do you go from here? What are your next
Well,
steps?
you know, long term, I'm just going to continue doing what I do. This upcoming January, I'll be at SHOT Show in Las Vegas at the F1 booth, maybe at the Adaball Optics booth, Rainier Munitions, Rainier Arms booth. Just not sure yet, but I'll be there, in middle to late January.
And SHOT Show is one of the biggest
The-
shows in the United States, right?
That's right. So
Okay.
I'll be doing that in between then and now. Just getting ready for next season. I'm not gonna stop shooting. I shoot 7 days a week, but I'll be preparing for traveling more. I'm gonna get camper that I can haul around the country and just do it full time and travel.
Okay.
And I'm getting tired of hotels.
Yeah, sure.
And so unloading and hauling in 7 to 10 F1 firearms a day into a hotel versus
Right.
having them locked up and being in the same bed every night.
And especially after Las Vegas and their incident, they're
Oh, yeah.
probably a little
Yeah, it's a
hesitant
little-
about.
Yeah, it's a little leery on their part with us.
So we had talked about a couple of different things, and I'm trying to remember everything that we had talked about. The dopamine, from what I read, your brain stops the release of it. Is basically what Parkinson's is, and the dopamine somehow controls the movements. So
Yeah.
you're having random firing of muscles and twitches and whatnot.
Yes.
And from what I've read up in my little bit of research before I got here, Parkinson's, most people don't die from Parkinson's. They die from a result of a symptom of Parkinson's, like a fall or
Yeah,
or pneummonia from
The
ingesting
swallowing.
food. Yeah.
That's like right now, and I don't want to say too much, but kind of required by my life insurance to be supervised with fluids. If I'm drinking
Okay.
fluids, eating, that kind of thing, because
Wow.
I could choke, and I do choke. I choke all the time, but it could develop into some really bad things. But
Sure.
And I have choked and passed out, with the choking because the flap, I guess, is not in sync or whatever. It's just
Sure.
a lack of control over it, and it's a natural thing. But yeah, I'll choke until I pass out.
Oh, boy.
Sometimes it has happened. I've choked a lot. So, but
That's scary.
yeah,
So you're going to continue shooting. You're traveling the U.S. The camper idea I love. I've thought about that with this idea. Matter of fact, we discussed it a little bit and figuring out a way because you're right. Jumping on an airplane and jumping in a hotel.
That's right.
That's can get a little old.
Yeah.
They have your own bed and a nice, comfortable, the same pillow and
That's right.
blanket is saying something, especially one that
Yeah.
500 people before you haven't been in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.